Thanks for joining me. We're gonna have another great class with this one. This is one of my favorite classes. This one is on the quads, quadriceps, thighs, whatever you want to call that particular muscle group. And it's a really important muscle in the body to use, not just for exercise. Obviously, it engages big time when you run or hike or bike or swim, but just for getting through our day, when you have to like squat down to pick something up or just engaging them in day-to-day life, just walking around. Really important to have good, strong quads. The good part is that the quads are fairly easy to strengthen, all right? Not so much other areas, perhaps like the low back or the hamstrings or the outer hips, which take a lot of time and patience. Quads for most of us are fairly strong to begin with and are pretty easy to get stronger. The other benefit of strengthening our quads is the quads are a support system, so to speak, for the knee joint. So if you have weak knees, and most of us have had knee problems at one point or another, and it's a little tough, challenging. Not to talk too much about the knee. There's a whole separate class just on the knees. But just basically, it's very difficult to get right deep into that knee joint and strengthen the knee joint. So the way you help the knees is to focus on the supporting muscles around it, namely shins, calves, quads, and hamstrings. So strengthening those quads will also have the benefit of helping to keep our knees healthy and strong and engaged. Before I begin, you will need a block for class today. So if you don't have a yoga block, you can still do the majority of the class. It's really going to come into play for one to two, but one in particular exercise we're going to do. If you don't have a block, you can just skip that section or watch it, and maybe at a later date when you do get a block, you can go back and revisit that, or you can just fast forward through it. Otherwise, let's begin. And let's come lay on our backs to start this quad class. And we're going to start this by stretching the quads. So a lot of it will be about strengthening the quads, but we're also going to do a number of poses where we stretch the quads because they do get tight. The other good part about the quads is, yes, they can get tight. They can get very sore if, say, you did a big uphill hike or a really steep downhill run. The quads can get pretty sore from that effort, but they usually recover pretty quickly, like a day or two later, they're back to normal. The other good news is that the quads are not all that easy. I'm not saying to say impossible. Nothing is impossible to injure. All right. So when we talk about having injuries, I strained my knee, I sprained my ankle, I overstretched my hamstring, I tweaked my neck, my back. Rarely do we hear about an actual injury to the quads. Not possible, but they're a pretty resilient, big, strong, tough muscle. They can take a lot, but we also need to nurture them. We also need to strengthen them and stretch them. All right, come lay on the back. And we're going to start this just with an easy hug in with that right knee and then slide the left leg to straight. So we're just going to give that right knee a hug in for a couple of breaths and start to stretch out that quad. Just give it another little hug in. And then just switch, hug the left knee in, straighten the right leg. Though the right leg doesn't need to be completely straight, it's going to be a little bend in the knee. It's just basically passive there as we hug that left knee in, give that quad a nice stretch here. And then let's take one more to each side. Take the right knee in, hold on, straighten the left leg, and then switch again. Hug the left knee in, give that a nice big stretch. And then this time, keep the left knee in, but you're going to take the right knee in as well. Wrap the arms around the shins, rock a little side to side. And then hug both knees in just a little bit closer. Maybe press those thighs into the chest. And then let's lift the head and shoulders and gently aim the knees towards the forehead. For another breath. And then slowly lower the head and shoulders down to the ground. Release both feet to the mat to keep the knees bent, feet about hips distance, into what we call a bridge preparation pose, though we're not taking bridge pose yet. You're going to slide the left leg just straight, keep the right knee bent. You're going to flex the left foot deeply, and then you're going to lift that left foot to hover. So the heel hovers and you're pushing out through the sole of the foot, and that big time is going to start to engage and make that left quad start to work. And then slowly lower it down. Let's do that a few more times. Lift it up, not high, not super high. The higher you lift, if you start to lift it high up to the ceiling like I'm doing, then it gets more into the hamstring. And it's not a bad thing, but we're working on the quads in this class. Lower it down. Let's get two more. Lift it up. So we're going to repeat this exact thing we're doing towards the latter half of the class, but from a seated position. So you'll see how it feels from a seat. Lower it down. And then one more time, take it up. Flex the foot. Let the heel hover. Feel that whole leg, but especially the quad. Maybe it's starting to shake a little bit now. And then lower it down and rebend that left knee, step it back in. And then you're going to slide the right leg to straight. You're going to flex the foot, ground the shoulder blades, and then start to float the right foot up. So the heels may be hovering just a couple inches above the mat, not far, but you really want to focus here on flexing the foot. The more you can push out through the heel, the more that's going to make that quad work. Lower it down. And again, let it come up, not too high. Feel that whole leg working, but especially the front of the leg, the thigh. Lower it down. We have two more. Lift it up. Flex. Exhale, release. And then one more. Float that heel up to hover. And then rebend the knee and bring that right foot back to that bridge prep. We're going to go back to the left side, but change it just a little bit. So this next one, we'll get a little more into the inner thigh and inner knee, but still strengthening that whole quad. All right, so slide that left leg back out to straight. Now, before you lift, you're going to spin, kind of dial, so to speak, the left toes off to the left a little bit, say at about 45-degree angle. And even then, before you lift, I can already feel that change, the stretch a little bit into my inner thigh. All right, and then same thing. Lift the foot up, let the heel hover, but keep the toes turned out to the side. And then slowly tap the heel down. And let's do that a few more times. Lift it up, not high. Keep the toes out at that 45-degree angle. Release the leg down. Two more. So keep the shoulder blades really grounded here, the hips grounded, and then lower the legs. Just a very isolating movement here. One more time. Lift that leg up. And then rebend the left knee. Bring the foot back in line with the right. Let's slide the right leg just straight. And again, before we start those lifts, you're going to just kind of like the knob on a stove. You're going to dial those right toes, the ankle out to the side, just about 45 degrees. And then with that, you lift it up and hold there. And again, you still get that quad strengthening, but you may feel it more in the inner thigh and inner knee. Carefully lower down. Let's keep going here. Lift it up, let it hover, flex the foot deeper to make that quad work harder, and then release it. We have two more. Lift it up. Exhale, lower it down. And then last time, for now, we'll do this again from a seat later. Hold here. And then rebend the right knee and again, bring the foot to the mat. All right, now, you're going to slide that left leg just straight. Again, different this time. These are called heel slides. So before we do anything, you're going to bend that left knee a little. So you're popping onto the heel and the toes are pointing up. And then you're slowly going to start to slide that left heel in, get it as close into the glute as possible. And you can tap your fingers to the back of the heel. And you should really feel that quad tighten and stretch there. And then slowly slide the left leg back out to straight or mostly straight. Three more. Pop under the heel. Do it slow. Slide the heel in as close as you can get. You also feel a little squeeze behind the back of the knee here. And then again, straighten the leg out. Two more. Slide the left heel in. These are really good strengtheners for the quad. So good. Slide it out to straight. And then we take one more on this side. Slide that left heel in. Maybe close enough you can tap the heel. Maybe even close enough that the heel taps the butt. And then lower that left foot to the mat, both knees bent. Slide the right leg to straight. So first you just kind of pop onto the heel, toes point up, so there's a bend in the knee. And then begin to slide that heel in, get as close as you can. Maybe tap the heel, maybe the heel even taps the butt, maybe. And then again, slide it slowly out to straight. Again, round two, slide it in, heel, slide right side, squeeze. Again, feel behind the right knee as well, kind of squeezes, and then slide it out. We have two more of these heel slides. Slide it in as close as you can get, and then release it back long. And then last one, heel slide, drop the right toes down. One more time, hug both knees to the chest, kind of hug in. Maybe the quads already feel a little stronger and a little more stretched out. All right, you're going to roll yourself up. So here is where, again, you may, if you have a block, it would come in handy. Some of you may not need it. If you don't have a block, you could get like a towel or a blanket or a cushion or something to sit on. This is called hero pose that we're going to come into. So we're going to start up on the shins. We're going to start, let's get into it this way. And this is a really big stretch for the quad. So again, we're doing a lot of strengthening. Now we're going to stretch. It's also a stretch for the knees. So it can be a little intense, especially if you have tight quads or you have sore knees. So that's why sitting on something can lift you up a little bit and alleviate some of that pressure on those joints. So if you have a yoga block, low or medium height, or again, you could just kind of roll something under you. You could sit on a pillow. I usually don't advocate that, but that's all you have nearby. Have it. And then you're going to start to sit back. And again, if this feels okay to you, if there's not too much stretch on the quads or the knees, you could bring your sitting bones all the way down to the mat so you don't need to sit on a prop. Most people, I find, it's pretty tight. It's a little uncomfortable. We're not going to be here a long time, but you never want to be uncomfortable or straining to hold a pose. So sitting on something, even like I said, just get a towel or a t-shirt, roll it up. So you heighten up, you lift up the butt a little bit so it takes that pressure off. All right, once you're comfy, so the knees, you can walk them into touch or have just a little small space in between. You're pressing the tops of the feet into your mat. So this also gets a nice stretch in the tops of the feet and the ankles. Try, if you're sitting on a block, say, try to walk the feet in close so that the edges of the feet are hugging the edges of the block. And if you're sitting flat on the mat, then the edges of the feet would be hugging the outer hips. All right, we're going to sit up tall here. Rest the palms on the thighs. Lengthen up through the low back. So you want a nice tall spine here. You don't want to round here. Lengthen. And we're going to just be here just 3 more breaths. Not a super long hold. This is hero pose. And it's, again, a really powerful stretch for the quads and the knees and the tops of the feet, but make sure you're comfortable in it. You're not straining to hold. 1 more breath. All right, now you're going to keep the right knee in this hero position. You're going to step the left foot to the mat. You might have to lean over to the right a bit. And you're going to ground that left foot to the mat. You're going to wrap both arms around that left shin and hug that left thigh into the belly, still sitting up nice and tall. And then keep the right arm only wrapped around that shin. You're going to slowly turn and twist to your left and drop the left fingers behind you into this seated half hero twist. Stay here for 1 more breath in and out. And then turn the chest back forward. Come back into that full hero position. And then come into side 2. So you're going to step the left foot to the mat. Knee points up, the right foot. The left leg is staying in hero. So you're still pressing that top of the foot into the mat, knee bent. And the right foot is on the mat. And we just start by hugging that right thigh in towards the chest. Keep the left hand wrapped around that right knee or shin, and then start to turn the chest to your right. Drop the right fingers behind you. Kind of push into those fingertips to help you sit up a little taller. Take 1 more breath and then slowly turn forward. From here, you're going to shift forward Come on to all fours, hands and knees. If you are sitting on something, anything, move it to the side for now. And you're going to come into tabletop position. So with this cat-cow movement to warm up the spine, we're going to also start to engage the lower body and especially the quads and also a bit the outer hip. So have the hands shoulder distance. Shoulders are right over the wrist and the hips are over the knees. We'll start on the right side. You bring the right knee to the nose. As you round the spine, tuck the chin in for cat pose. And then as you open the heart into cow, you're going to lift that right knee and hip off to the side into a fire hydrant position. And let's keep going. Curl in, knee to nose. Exhale, elevate the hip, open the chest. 4 more. Round in, knee to nose. Elevate, open. Keep going. Curl in, inhale. Lift and open, exhale. Let's try 2 more. Round in, knee to nose. Find that fire hydrant as you open the chest. And then last one on the side. Curl in. Exhale, lift. Lower the right knee to the mat. Rearrange. If you need, shift around. And then let's take side 2. Pull the left knee to the nose, round the spine, tuck the chin, and then lift that knee and hip off to the side as you open forward into cow. And we're going to keep going here. So still finding that articulation, movement of the spine, curling in and opening up, but we add in that little element to get that lower body working too, strengthening the quads and maybe opening the outer hip here. We have just 1 more on the side. Curl in, lift up, come back to all fours, hands and knees. Now you're going to take the right leg long back of the mat, tuck the toes to lift that bottom leg up. And just for a moment, just kind of push that right heel back a little and feel how that kind of engages the whole leg, but in particular, the quad. And now take the left arm long by the ear. First, we're going to float the right toes up. Kick the foot flat so the toes point down. Get length in left and right side for tiger. And now we're going to come into bird dog crunches. So you bend the left elbow and the right knee and you curl back into cat and you tap the left knee, the left elbow rather to the right knee or thigh. And then you extend the arm and leg long and open the chest forward back to cow. Keep going here. Curl in, elbow to knee. Exhale, reach long, gaze forward. 3 more. Round the spine. Exhale, extend arm and leg. 2 more times. We round and we open. Then we take 1 more and then a little change. Curl in. Open up. All right, so you can either stay here in this tiger pose, or if you can, bend the right knee, sweep the left arm back. See if you can take hold of that right foot or ankle. Kick the foot back, open the heart. So we have a really nice deep quad stretch here, as well as a heart opener. Ground down more through the right palm. See if you can kick that right foot back another inch. Take 1 more breath here. And then release the right foot and bring the right knee back to the mat. And take the left leg long. First, again, before we go deeper, tuck the toes. Just kind of not really rocking back and forth, kind of pushing that left heel back a little more to get that stretch going, that length, engagement. And then you're going to sweep the right arm long by the ear. First, all we do is float the left toes up. Keep them pointing down. Get length. And then bend the right elbow. Tap it in towards the right knee as you curl back in for cat. And then exhale, reach the arm and leg long again as you open the chest into cow. Let's get just a few more. Tap. Exhale, reach. Inhale, curl in. As you exhale, reach long. We have 2 more of these bird dogs. So starting to get the core warmed up too, core engaged. 1 more time. Round and open. So again, option to stay here or bend the left knee, sweep the right arm behind the back, get hold, foot, ankle, kick the foot back, open the heart. So a nice big quad stretch here on that left side. Take 1 more breath, and then you're going to release the knee back down. You're going to start to walk the knees back a little further, sink the hips back, and drop the chest down into child's pose. So see if you can crawl the fingertips forward a little more. See if you can drop the forehead down to the mat. So hip stretch, upper back, shoulder opener. But you should also really feel those quads begin to stretch here. Let's take One more breath in child's pose. And then slowly come back up to all fours. From here, you're going to tuck the toes. You're going to lift up into a high plank. So pause here a moment. And again, like we did a moment ago, just kind of push both heels back and feel how that pushing kind of lifts up, engages the whole lower leg, not just the quads, but the shins and the knees as well. From here, you're going to take the hips up to the sky and come into downward facing dog. Now take a couple breaths here to set this up the way it feels good. Ideally, hand shoulder distance. You want a little soft bend in those elbows and begin to find that external rotation of the upper biceps here to open up more space in the chest and upper back. Knees can be bent. Knees can be a little or a lot bent here. If it still feels super tight in your hamstrings, bend the knees more. Maybe take the feet a bit wider than hips distance. As you feel comfortable here, begin to reach the hips up towards the sky and begin to drop the chest down towards the ground. Gaze back at the tips of the toes so we keep the neck nice and safe here. All right, from here, you're going to put a really deep bend in the right knee, and you're going to keep the left leg straight and try to stretch that left heel down towards the mat. So stretching out the calves and Achilles for sure. You should also feel it in both legs, in the quads. And then straighten both legs and take the other side. Bend the left knee really deep. Maybe even come on to the tips of the toes. Straighten the right leg and really stretch that right heel down towards the mat. Give it a good stretch. And then slowly straighten both legs. Of course, it's fine to keep the knees bent to any degree. Probably not as extreme as we just did, but definitely you don't have to have them super straight. And don't ever lock the knees out. Don't ever hyperextend the knees. Keep that little soft bend, even if it's easy to straighten the legs. From here, take the right leg to the sky into three-leg dog. You're going to bend that right knee, open the hip, flex the foot. Slowly turn and look under the right arm, and then just begin to circle that right knee and hip around to the right, opening up the hip, beginning again into the inner thigh this way, and then circle the opposite way, circling inwards towards the left side. All right, come back to three-leg dog till the chest faces the mat. Keep the leg lifted, and then you're going to step it through. Lower onto the left knee, walk the hands in, and come into a low lunge pose. So for this low lunge, to begin, keep both hands on that right knee or thigh and lengthen up through the spine. From here, we're going to take this into a quad stretch on the left side. So lean forward a little, pop the right forearm to the right thigh, bend the left knee, catch the foot, this time with the left hand. If you need to keep leaning forward to get that grip, get that bind, do so. But if you're able to begin to lengthen the spine, again, sit up tall, let the right hand rest on that right thigh and begin to ease that left heel in towards the butt, giving that left quad a really nice stretch. So here, you want to keep both hips facing forward, and you want to avoid letting that left foot pop out, sickle out to the side. Keep it right in line. One more breath. Slowly release that left foot down. Lean forward, bring the hands to the mat. Step back to high plank and lift the hips back up to downward facing dog. Left side, now take the left leg to the sky to three-leg dog. First, we bend the knee, open the hip, flex the foot. Gazing under the left arm, start to circle that knee to the left. And a big circle, so you can keep the circles small, working on that hip fluency, hip mobility. And then let's circle it the other way so we get the whole hip joint moving and warm. Come back to three-leg dog. So again, the chest and the hips now are facing straight down, but the leg is lifted. And then we take a big step forward with the left foot. Lower onto the right knee, walk the hands in, spine tall, drop both hands to start to that left thigh so we get that grounding and we get to begin with that nice tall spine, lengthening up through the sides of the body. Now lean forward a bit, prop the left forearm to the left thigh, bend the right knee, catch the foot with the same hand Ease the heel to the butt, and then if you're able, begin to lengthen the spine. Come back up to a tall spine. If you need to lean forward a little because you feel wobbly, do so. Try to ease that heel in towards the glute. Maybe it taps. One more breath. Release the foot down, lean forward, hands down. Step to plank pose. Lift the hips up to downward facing dog. Take 2 breaths here. A deep breath in through the nose. Full breath out the same way through the nose. Keep the lips sealed. One more time like that. Inhale, big inhale. And then exhale deeply. And then bend your knees, look to the top of your mat, and you're going to walk yourself forward. From here, bring the hands to the hips, and you're going to come all the way up to stand. From here, you're going to cross the right foot over the left. So you can have the feet in really close, like little pinky toes touch, or you can walk the feet a little wider or a little wider still. Know with this cross foot position, we'll all need to bend the knees more to keep us balanced here. Begin to lengthen the spine, so you want to stand up tall. Reach the arms overhead. Circle the left wrist with the right fingers. And then let's take a cross foot side bend over to the right. And as you do, bump that left hip out to the left. Ground more through the inner and outer edges of both feet to help us stay stable here. Take one more breath here. And then inhale, rise, release the grip of the wrist. Keep the feet crossed. Again, you may need to bend the knees more. And you're going to slowly fold forward. See if you can drop the fingers to the mat. Here's where your yoga block would come in handy too, ideally. And then you're going to fold over the legs into a cross foot forward fold. So once again, bend the knees more if the hamstrings are tight. If you're straining to reach the mat, you can always keep the hands on the hips. You don't have to bring the hands all the way down. But there's where having 2 yoga blocks would be really ideal, so your hands could reach to the blocks. One more breath. All right, everybody bring your hands to the hips. Come all the way back up to stand, and then uncross the feet. And stand for a moment with the feet hips distance, toes spun forward, tall spine. Side 2. Cross the left foot over the right. And again, you decide how close in or far apart you want the feet. Probably not to go too far apart. Bend the knees more. Sweep the arms overhead. This time hold on to the right wrist with the left fingers. We're going to take a side bend over to the left, but as we do, we bump that right hip off to the right just a bit. One more breath, rise, release the wrist, and then slowly come back down into that cross foot forward fold. Again, using the blocks if you need, bend the knees more if you need. One more breath. All right, from here again, bring the hands to the hips. Slowly come up, uncross the feet, and standing firm on both feet. So a little thing like crossing the feet can sometimes, again, just a little thing can throw our center of gravity off just enough. We feel a little wobbly, a little shaky, a little uneven. So you really have to practice, focus on grounding through the feet more and bending the knees more so you don't topple over accidentally. All right, from here, sweep both arms overhead, join the palms. And then as you exhale, fold back down to your mat. Press the palms to the shins, flatten the spine as you gaze forward. Exhale, hands down. Step back, right to downward facing dog. Lift the hips up to the sky. So next couple of poses, we're going to work on the mobility of the quad, so kind of bending and straightening the leg. Those kind of motions, so inviting a little mobility, flexibility, movement into those quads, into those thighs. Take the right leg to the sky again to 3-leg dog. And then exhale, step it through into a runner's lunge pose. So the hands stay down. Another pose where yoga blocks could be a big help here. All right, from here, you're going to round the spine a little bit, tuck the chin into the chest, keep the knee bent. And then you're going to straighten the leg, and as you do, gaze forward. Keep the back heel lifted in this version of pyramid pose. So usually in pyramid, big hamstring stretch, we keep the back heel grounded. For today, because we're moving back and forth between these 2 poses, we want to keep the back heel lifted. All right, you're going to bend that knee again to runner's lunge. Dome the spine, curl inch into chest, and then straighten the leg and gaze forward. Just two more. Bend the knee, round the spine. Exhale, straighten the knee, open the chest. One more time, bend the knee. Runner's lunge with that rounded spine, and then straighten the leg to pyramid, gaze forward. We bend the right knee to runner's lunge, step back to plank, lift the hips up to downward dog. So again, that kind of mobility, bending, straightening, bending, straightening. We're going to repeat that on the left side and then do a slightly different variation from high lunge. Take the left leg to the sky. And then exhale, big step through, find your runner's lunge. So get grounded here. Again, if you're straining to reach the mat with your fingertips, blocks, or like a big book, like a dictionary or something, would really be helpful here. All right, from that runner's lunge, begin to curl the spine inch into chest, and then straighten the left knee without locking it. And as you do, gaze forward to the top of your mat. Rebend the knee to runner's lunge, curl the spine. Exhale, straighten the leg. So remember, the back toes are tucked, back heel lifts. Two more. Bend the knee, runner's lunge, round the spine. Exhale, straighten the leg, gaze forward. One more time, we bend and curl. And we straighten and look forward. We bend the knee, runner's lunge, step to plank, lift the hips up to downward facing dog. And again, here in downward dog, let's take 2 breaths to kind of refresh, reset. Take a big inhale. Exhale through the nose. One more round, big breath in. And a nice deep full breath out. All right, on your next inhale, take the right leg back to 3-leg dog. This time as you step it through, you're going to rise up to a high lunge position. So the back toes tucked, back heel lifts, the spine is tall, front knee is bent right over the knee. So another benefit of strengthening the quads, if you do a lot of yoga, if you like to do yoga or you want to do more yoga, we do a lot of bent knee positions, low lunge, high lunge, warrior 2, etc., as you'll see. And the quads throughout an hour or hour and 15-minute practice can take a lot of use. So it's important to strengthen them for that purpose as well. All right, from here, from high lunge, you're going to bend the elbows into cactus arms. So kind of opening, broadening a little more across the chest. Now, you're going to straighten that right knee and you're going to bring the palms and forearms to touch. Keep the spine tall, keep gazing out in front of you. All right, rebend the knee, bend the elbows, open back to those cactus arms. Exhale, straighten that right knee, join the palms and forearms. Just one more time. Bend the knees, bend the elbows, open the chest, straighten the leg, palms and forearms touch. Rebend the knee to high lunge. This time sweep the arms by the ears, reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then lower the hands all the way down to the mat. Step back to plank, and then lift the hips up, back to downward facing dog. Take the left leg to the sky, 3-leg dog, and then exhale, step it through, and rise up, bring yourself up, find your high lunge. Take a moment, arms by ears, get steady, gaze is out in front of you, lifting up again from that low back, pushing into the ball of that right foot, lifting the heel to support us. Now, again, you bend the elbows, find that cactus arm position, and then straighten the left knee, and as you do, press the palms and forearms together. All right, rebend the left knee to high lunge, open back out, cactus arms. Straighten the knee, join the palms and forearms. One more time, bend the knee, cactus arms. Exhale, straighten the leg, palms and forearms touch. Rebend the knee to high lunge. This time again, reach the arms up by the ears. And then exhale, lower the hands all the way down to the mat. Step back to plank. Take the hips up and find downward dog. 2 breaths here. Big breath in. Full breath out. Take one more like that, breathing in deeply. Exhaling fully. From here, walk the hands to the feet, back of the mat. You're going to roll all the way up to stand, and you're going to find your way to a wall. All right, so find your way to a wall. We're going to do 3 rounds of wall squats. So wall squats, squats in general, really Simple, basic, but really important, crucial pose to build up strength in the quads. Also helps again with the knees. What we're going to do also today is work on a nice tall spine. That's why we're using the wall. And also maybe giving those glutes a little bonus squeeze as well so they get a little bit of work in. We use the wall. You don't have to do these at a wall, but having the wall behind you, again, wall kind of works as a prop here, as an assistant, gives us something to press back into. So we don't round, we don't slouch here. And maybe the wall helps us stay in that squat just another breath longer. All right, so press the back into the wall. You want all of the back body. You want back of the skull, shoulder blades, whole length of spine, sit bones pressing into the wall. Step the feet a little away from you, so you're kind of almost like a little slant here. And you may know when you come into the squat, you may need to step the feet out a little further even. Have the feet about hips distance. Press the back into the wall. You're going to start to bend the knees and come into our first squat. So first time, look down at the knees and make sure you can see a little bit of the toes, even if it's just the very tip of the toes. If not, you need to wiggle the toes out further. And then you sink down, rest the palms on the thighs, gaze forward, squeeze the glutes, and hold here for 3 breaths. So again, you can see if you're at the wall, how having that wall behind you kind of helps you again, tall spine, maybe takes a little weight, a little pressure off the quads that are working very hard here. One more breath, and then straighten the legs briefly. Keep a little soft bend in the knees. You can kind of wiggle them out, kind of tap them, kind of get the blood circulating, the blood flow going there. And then again, press the back in the wall, sink back down, round 2. Maybe each round, I was going to do 3, you can go a little bit lower. So another way to do these, not in this class, but is to just kind of slide up and down. So you don't really hold a squat, you're just straightening and lowering and up and down. So they both work, they're both really good. The longer you hold, the more you're going to feel the quads. Muscles start to shake and jitter, because they're working really hard and we've already done some stuff to work them. So they may be a little fatigued. All right, straighten and keep the back against the wall. Maybe give the legs a little shake, holding just a breath, giving them just a little break in between. And then one more time, sink down. Maybe you go a little lower, a little lower, a little lower still. Squeeze the glutes while you're here too. Let's not forget about those. They participate in this pose. So good one again, not just for the quads. Those knees, very beneficial. If you've had a knee injury, knee pain, you've worked with a physical therapist, say, or an orthopedic, they may advise you to do some version of this wall squat. All right, slowly straighten and step away from the wall. Give the legs a little shake. They're probably very tired after those deep squats. So let's give them a nice stretch. So if you need balance, press the left hand against the wall or a chair. Stand on the left foot, bend the right knee, catch the foot, bring the heel in. So we've done a variety of this. We did a version of this a little while ago in that low lunge, and now we do it standing. Again, though, don't let the foot sickle out to the side. Try to press the inner knees together. Stand up tall, but don't lock out the knee of the standing leg, the left leg. One more breath. Release the foot. Turn around, other side. Again, your balance is good. You're not going to need a wall or a chair, but it's there if you do. This isn't really, the purpose of this pose isn't really to work on balance. It's to stretch the quad out. So feel free to keep balanced as you need. Take one more breath and then let that foot go. And come back to the top of the mat. As you inhale, reach the arms overhead, join the palms. And then exhale, fold back down to the mat. Step back, drop on all fours, and come lay on your back. So a bit of core work, not a lot, because the core really doesn't necessarily relate in any way or in an important way to the quads. Having a strong core doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have strong quads or vice versa. But I just like to throw core work in almost every class. Super important to keep the whole body strong and balanced. And we will add in a little element that's going to get into the quads a bit with this core work. So start with knees bent, feet on the mat, and that bridge prep. You're going to hug the right knee to the chest And you're going to cross the right ankle outside the left knee into figure four. So this is a hip opener, yes, but you can also kind of feel it in the quad, nice quad strengthen or stretch, and definitely in the inner thigh and in the knee. All right, you're going to bring both hands behind the head, elbows wide. And then you're going to lift the head up and then float the left foot up. And then lower everything back down. And keep going this way a few more rounds. So just lifting up and down through center. Head and shoulders rise and that bottom foot lifts up. And you keep that right foot really flex the whole time. Maybe open the right knee off to the side a little bit more if it's there. One more, and then let's hold. See if you can lift a little higher. Maybe press the right elbow against the right knee or thigh. Lower down, uncross the ankle, take the other side, we'll go back to the right side next, but add a twist in. But let's get the left side. Cross left ankle outside the right knee, flex the foot, and then hands behind the head, elbow wide, and then inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. Maybe as you lift, you can tap left elbow to left knee. Float that right foot up as you lift the head and shoulders. Just little figure four crunches up the middle. Two more. Let's find one more and hold. Maybe lift the head and shoulders a little higher. Maybe now elbow and knee or thigh meet. And then release down, uncross the left ankle. Back to the right side, and we add a twist this time. So first, get that figure four shape once again. Hands back behind the head, elbow wide. Now lift to center, lift the head and shoulders, float that left foot up. Now, straighten the left leg, flex the foot. Here's where that quad stretch comes in. And you're going to twist and tap left elbow to right knee. And then exhale, release everything back down. Four more. Rise, straighten left leg, push out through the foot, twist to the right, lower it down. Center, left leg straightens, we twist to the right. We reset down. We have two more. Lift. Straighten, push out through that left foot, twist, left elbow to right knee. Release down, and then one more, lift, straighten, flex, twist, hold. 3, 2, 1. Lower down, uncross the right foot, right ankle, last part. Take that figure four again on the left side, flex the foot, hands behind head, elbows wide. Lift to center. Straighten the right leg, push out through the heel, twist to the left, tap right elbow to left knee or thigh. Exhale, return everything back to the start. Inhale, lift, straighten, twist. Exhale, lower. 3 more. Rise, straighten the right leg, engage that quad as you twist over to your left, and then reset 2 more times. Rise, straighten, twist, lower down. Last one, rise. Straighten the right leg, flex the foot, twist over, lift that left shoulder up a little more, hold left. 3, 2, 1, lower down, uncross the left ankle. Like we did earlier, hug both knees in, rock a little right, rock a little left, and then rock yourself all the way up, roll yourself up. From here, find your way back to that high plank position once again. Again, pushing both heels back to really power up, firm up, engage those legs, and then take the hips back up to downward facing dog. Let's breathe here again, couple breaths, breathe in and out. Let's take one more, breathe in and out. From here, you're going to take the right leg back to three-leg dog. You're going to take a big step forward, ground the back foot, and you're going to come up into warrior two pose. So take a moment, set up here, arms to a T. Right knee, here's another of those poses where we bend that knee a lot and we work that quad a lot. So couple things you can do so that quad doesn't get all jiggly and shaky here and tired and you want to come out of it. First, we strengthen, which we've been doing all class. Second, we take more weight into the straight leg. So we kind of distribute the weight a little more evenly between the bent knee and the straight leg. And you do that by grounding more through the foot, through the left foot, especially the outer edge, and that should kind of wake up and engage the left leg as well. All right, once you have the legs secure, take the arms to a T, tall spine, gaze out over the right fingers. All right, this is going to be a little mobility movement like we did a couple of times already in the runner's lunge and high lunge. You're going to straighten the right knee, and you're going to rebend the knee. And just 3 more times, straighten the knee, but don't lock it as you straighten. And rebend. And 2 more times, straighten the leg. Arms doesn't change here. Rebend. And 1 more time, we straighten the knee. And rebend the knee. Hold here, a breath. All right, straighten the knee. Turn to side of your mat. And we're going to pivot right away into warrior 2 on the other side. So you're going to turn the left toes to face the back of the mat. You're going to bend the left knee so it's right over the ankle, and you're going to kind of slightly turn the right toes in. So again here, before we do that bending, straightening exercise, take a couple moments here. And again, make sure both legs are working equally. Maybe walk that right foot back a little. Ground more through the outer edge, the pinky edge of that foot, and feel how that right away wakes up, engages, tightens a little bit that right quad, but also maybe the hamstring, shin, and calf. Tall spine, arms by the shoulders. Look out over the left fingers. Now, all we're going to do is straighten the left knee and then rebend. So nothing else changes. You're not reaching forward. You're keeping the torso still. Straighten and bend, and then 2 more. Straighten the leg. Don't lock it. Rebend the knee. And 1 more time, straighten and bend. So again, just introducing that little mobility back and forth, bend and straight, finding that movement there. It's also good for the knees. All right, straighten the left leg again, and now turn to the center. Face the center of your mat. Maybe walk the feet a little wider if you can. Turn both toes out. Turn the toes out. Keep the hands at the hips to start. Find length in the spine. And then keep the hands at the hips to start. You're going to bend deeper into the right knee and keep the left leg straight. So you can choose to keep the hands at the hips, or you could transfer them to that right thigh. If you want to get a little lower down, you could bring the hands to the mat. And now you're going to shift, straighten both legs briefly, and bend the left knee, straighten the right. So we're doing these side lunges, which are really nice to strengthen both legs and also to get that mobility. All right, let's shift again. Bend the right knee, straighten the left. Hold here 2 breaths. 1 more breath, and then switch again. Bend the left knee, straighten the right. We're holding here 2 breaths. It's also nice for the outer hips. All right, so from here, straighten both legs briefly. Keep the hands down on the mat. Again, blocks are a good prop here too. So you can choose. You can go back and hold each side bend like 2 or even 3 breaths for strength. Or if you want, again, that little more mobility, then you just kind of shift side to side and you don't really hold the side bend. So you choose, maybe hold that right side, breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths, or you're not holding at all. And you're just kind of changing back side to side. Whatever you do, couple more breaths. So if you held that right side for 2 or 3 breaths, come to the left side now and do the same. And if you're shifting, keep shifting for 1 more breath, and then come back to center. Straighten both legs, turn the toes in now. Again, this is where blocks would be good. Have the hands right under the chest. Gaze forward first to lengthen the spine and open the chest. And now we're going to take a wide leg forward fold. Drop the crown of the head down towards the mat. Knees again can be bent here. So this is a big wide leg forward fold. Let the spine drape down. This is also good for lengthening the spine, decompressing the low back. But here we're stretching out the entirety of the leg, front and back, also the outer hips and the spine. Lots of good things going on here. Take 1 more breath, and then slowly gaze forward. Start to walk or step the feet in close. You can do 1 foot at a time or both together. Step the feet in till they're about parallel. Little bend in the knees, and then slowly bring yourself all the way up to stand. So this next thing, you don't need the block yet, but we will the next exercise after this. This is going to be a squat, not as deep a squat as we did at the wall, but a little squat, and then we straighten, and then we kick the leg to the side. So as you kick, you want to keep that leg straight and you want to keep the foot flexed. We're not doing it yet. And it's just a small movement out to the side. So as you kind of kick that leg out, you don't want to lean to the side. You want to try to keep the spine tall and not move the leg too far. So the squat, the purpose of that again is to keep strengthening those quads and knees. But that little straight leg side kick, that's for the outer hips, but also inner thighs. All right, start with feet about hips distance, a little soft bend of the knees to start even before we squat. Keep the spine tall. So first come into that squat. So you're not going down too deep and you're not going to hold this. We're going to do this first one a little slower, but then we'll get a little faster. You're going to straighten the legs and then you're going to kick that right foot out to the side. Again, you don't want to tilt to the left. And we're going to switch sides here. So you're going to bend back into that squat, give the glutes a little squeeze, straighten the legs, kick the left foot out to the side. Keep going here. So as you kick, you kind of start that little side kick. You lead out with the pinky edge of the foot. Foot is flexed. Foot stays pretty low to the mat. You want to avoid, when you do those side kicks, to tip over to one side. Try to keep the spine as tall as you can. Let's finish up just a couple more to each side. So still squatting. I know the quads are probably super tired. Done a lot of work for them in this class so far. Let's try one more kick to the right, and then last time squat straight and kick to the left. All right, now here's where you will need a block. So if you don't have one, you didn't bring one, again, you could just watch this, observe it, and then maybe when you do get a block, you could come back and try this again, or you could choose to just kind of fast forward through this part. So these are block step ups. And these I use as an alternative to, say, stair climbing because we don't all have stairs. I don't have any stairs in my house. I have no stairs, not a single stair. And sometimes if you use stairs a lot, that can be a little too harsh on the knee. It can be a little too much bend and tension on the knee. Using the block, the low setting, is a pretty small step. You could add more if you have one of those step things they use. It looks like a little bench that they use for step aerobics. I think they still use that these days. You could also, if you wanted a little more challenge, you could stack 2 blocks on top of the other, but be careful there because once you start stacking, the blocks get a little wobbly and you don't want to fall off. But I find using 1 block is plenty for this purpose here. So you want the block kind of right toes right behind the edge of the block. And we're going to start stepping up forward. So you lead with the right foot, you bend the knee, and then the leg straightens as you step onto the block. And then the left leg, the trailing leg, that stays straight the whole time. The foot flexes and it hovers just a couple inches above the mat. So you can see how this stimulates stair climbing. But again, it's just a little bit gentler on the joints. It's not so extreme. Take one more on this side. All right, step off and then move the block so it's right in front of the left toes. And then we'll start the same thing. Stepping on and off, bending the left knee, and then straightening it as you land on the block. And then again, the right leg now is the trailing leg. It stays straight, the foot stays flexed, the foot hovers a little bit above the mat. 2 more and 1 more. All right, step off the block. We're going to do these step ups a little different now. I'm going to do it to the side. So again, it gets a little more this time into the inner thigh and inner knee. So now move the block, keep it the flat setting, and you're going to line it up with the pinky edge of the right foot, and we're going to step onto this sideways. So same thing, you step on with the right foot, bend the knee as you step, and then as the foot grounds, you straighten the leg. The left leg, once again, is trailing. So you can just see it's still working that quad, but it's just changing just a little bit into that inner thigh. 2 more and 1. Step off, last part. Transfer the block now, move it so it's lined up with the left pinky side of the foot, and then stepping on and off with the left foot. Right leg trails, right foot hovers. Just a good, kind of simple, accessible pose here, just to strengthen the quads and the knees and the inner thighs. 2 more. And last one. All right, step off the block, move it to the side for now. We will likely have need for it coming up, but you can place it to the side for now. Come back to the top of your mat. Once again, reach the arms overhead, join the palms. Exhale, fold back down to the ground. Step back to all fours. And from here, you're going to slide onto the belly, but you're going to come into Sphinx pose, a nice gentle back bend. So elbows are bent, palms and forearms are on the mat. The legs are long. Press the top of the feet into the mat and begin to lift up from the low back. So you don't want to be rounding here, slouching. You don't want to be dropping the chin into the chest or pushing the chin forward. Keep the neck in a kind of nice neutral halfway position here. One more breath. All right, from here, you're going to spin the right forearm so it's parallel to the front of your mat, creating a similar shape that we did in those figure 4 crunches earlier. It's kind of the same, though you'll be able to get the elbow bent, the arm bent at probably more of an angle than you did the knee. Now, keep the right leg long, press at the top of the foot, press down through that right palm and forearm. You're going to bend the left knee again and catch hold of the foot or ankle. And again, begin to ease the heel in towards the butt. Press down through that right forearm so you lift. So you don't want to collapse here. All right, you don't want to be bowing the forehead down towards the elbow, down towards the mat. You want to lift the chest. And once again, don't let that left foot pop out to the side. Try to keep the inner knees touching if you can and find this quad stretch. One more breath, let go of the foot. Come back to Sphinx pose. So the fingers point forward. Again, just kind of resetting here before side 2. And now spin that left forearm so it's parallel to the front of the mat. Ground down through the left leg, top of the foot. Bend the right knee, catch the foot. Begin to bring the heel in towards the butt. Lengthen through the spine. Don't dump down into the low back. Don't let the chest collapse. One more breath. Let go of the right foot. Come back here now onto all fours, hands and knees. And once again, you're going to come back onto the shins. So walk the hands in. Tuck the toes, lift the heels. And have the knees point forward, hip points face forward, chest face forward, tall spine. We're going to take another back bend. This one is camel pose. We won't go too deep in. It's not so much about the back bend. It's about getting another quad stretch going here. So you're going to bring the hands to the low back. So the heels of the palms are pressing into the low back and the fingertips are stretching down towards the ground. Kind of squeeze the shoulder blades together. So we do want to get a little back bend, but this is more about stretching the quads. Keep the chin tucked to start. You're going to start to arch the spine. Open the chest forward. Maybe blink the gaze out in front of you. Maybe up to the sky. Maybe let the head fall back, only if your neck feels okay with it. And let's not go any deeper. We can take this deeper. We can reach the fingers down towards the heels. Let's stay a little more upright. Because once again, not so much focusing on the back bend, which is good, but we want to pay attention here, last couple breaths, to that quad stretch we're getting here. Take one more breath here. And then slowly straighten the spine. And come and find a seat. So, one of the first poses we did in this class, those first strengthening exercises, was to lay on our back and lift one of the legs up and down. So we're going to do that all over again, but from a seated position. And you have the option here, if you want to raise yourself up a little, you could, if you have a block, sit on the block. All right, sitting on a blanket, be comfortable for your seat, but it's not going to lift you up higher. One more thing with this pose. This is another classic quad and knee strengthener that physical therapists like to work with you on. Most often they would have you sitting on the edge of like a firm back chair. Sofa, not so much, because the tendency is you can sink into the cushions. You want a good firm seat under you. But for our purpose in this class, if you want to raise up, you can sit on a block flat setting. Otherwise, feel free to stay seated on the mat. You'll still get the benefits of what we're doing. Let's bend the right knee. So step the foot in, ground the foot. Left leg is straight. So hands are by the sides of the hips. Flex the left foot. So right away, even before you lift, just that flexion of the foot. So do this. Kind of let the foot go slack. Just kind of, you can point the toes or just kind of let it be floppy. And you can feel how that softens the quad and the shin. Now, flex the foot, pull the toes back towards the face, and feel how just that, before you do anything else, just the flexion tightens and engages that quad and the shin and the knee. Now, spine tall, you're going to float that left heel up to hover. Remember these? We did these on the back. They may feel a little tougher now. Lower down. And again, lift it up, let it hover, especially it might be harder because the quads are super tired because we did a lot of work on them already. Lower down, just 2 more, lift it up, let it hover, push out through the sole of the foot, lower down, and 1 more time, keep the spine tall, don't lean back, hold here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the left heel to the mat, bend the left knee, step the foot in, slide the right leg to straight. So again, let's try it on this side, just so you can see just how flexing the foot. Maybe, that's all you need sometimes. Just if you're sitting or laying in bed and you want to strengthen the quad, just kind of this like point flex of the foot. So let the foot go slack, let the leg kind of be soft and the quad is just really relaxed. Then begin to flex the foot and see how just that, before we do anything more, wakes that quad up. All right, hands by the hips, tall spine, float the right heel up, let it hover, push out through the sole of the foot, and then slowly drop the heel down. And again, rise, feel that quad. Maybe it's a little shaky, it's super tired. Lower it down, 2 more. Rise up, let the heel hover, let the spine be tall. Drop the heel down, 1 more. 4 now, lift up, hold, lower down. Change sides again. Slide the left leg to straight, bend the right knee in, foot to the mat. Now, same thing that we did on the back before we lift. Kind of pop the left toes out to the side. So kind of the ankle kind of dials out to the side, toes open up. This again is going to get a little more into the inner leg, inner knee, inner thigh. Float the heel up, keep the toes dialed out, sit up tall. Exhale, tap the heel down. 3 more, lift it up, hold, maybe dial it open a little more, and then lower. 2 more. Heel rises, not high, and release. And then last time, holding here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the left foot down, step it in, bend the knee, take the right leg out straight. Again, before we lift, find that 45-degree angling out. And then lift it up. Let the heel hover, flex the foot a little deeper. Exhale, slowly lower the heel down to the mat. Again, let it rise. Feel that leg strengthening, engaging. And then release. And we have just 2 more. Last 2, lift up. Exhale, lower down. Final 1, lift up. Hold here, maybe dial the toes out, another 1/4 inch. And then lower down, step the right foot in. If you are sitting on a block, come off the block. Move the block to the side, but keep it nearby. And now you could get, if you have a blanket or a very firm cushion, you could get that under your seat. You could sit on that for a little comfort, and mostly a little support. The next couple poses we're going to do are hip openers and folds. And so having that little extra padding under your seat, having that little extra height under the spine can really be helpful. All right, so first we're going to just start in an easy butterfly pose. So the soles of the feet are going to touch, knees are going to open wide, and you're going to use the inner elbows, forearms to very gently press the knees away. See if you can scoot the heels in so they're in a little closer, not touching the groin, but in closer. If you don't want them, if you get further away, it makes more of a diamond shape, and that gets more, that's a nice stretch too, actually, for inner thighs, inner knees. But we're really going a little more for the hip opener and the knee opener. And also a nice quad stretch. You could also wrap the hands around the feet and just kind of let the knees open up on their own here. Sit up tall. Just about 3 breaths, not too long. Because again, this is primarily, this butterfly pose, primarily a hip opener, but you can also see how it works some of the other areas we've been touching on a bit today, the knee, inner thigh, and the quad a bit too. One more breath. All right, now simply going to keep the right knee bent and you're going to slide the left leg to straight. And we're going to come into seated tree pose. So a couple things here. We'll sit bones grounded. So if you feel that left butt cheek hiking up, sit on a blanket or hard cushion, firm cushion. If the right knee isn't coming easily to the ground, get your yoga block under it, or you could even there just like roll a towel or a t-shirt or something soft so that the knee's resting on something. The left leg is straight, but still flexing the foot as we've been doing to engage that quad and that kneecap. You're going to angle very slightly over the left leg. So you're not twisting, just that kind of chest in line with the kneecap. Lengthen the spine, kind of look at the left big toe, and then keep the chest open. And you're slowly going to walk the hands out and fold. All right, so if you can keep the chest open, you can start to drop the forehead down a little closer to the leg, but you don't want to round the spine here. You don't want to have this rounded spine. You're thinking you want to focus lengthening from the low back. So start this lengthening, this forward fold at the low back, lengthens all the way along the spine here. Take 2 more breaths here. One more. All right, slowly lift the chest, walk the hands in, lift the right knee and slide that leg to straight. And then you're going to step the left foot in and bend that. So the sole of the foot's pressing lightly against the right inner thigh. And again, take a moment, kind of do a little check, body check here. Make sure both sit bones grounded. Left knee, that one's not grounding. Get something under it, your block or a towel or something. All right, now, again, that just little angling over the right leg. Just a slight angling. Flex the right foot. Feel how that wakes up the quad. Sit up tall. And then keeping all that nice length and all that opening in the chest. Starting to fold over the right leg. Walk the hands out. Once again, if you can maintain that opening in the chest and lengthen the spine, you can go deeper. But if you feel the spine start to round, then you need to come back out of that fold a bit. Just 2 more breaths here. Last one. Once again, slowly walk yourself up. Lift the left knee. Slide it to straight. Give the legs a little shake here. And then come back and lay on your back. So have the block handy if you want it for bridge pose, which we will come into for a couple of finishing stretches and a twist. So set up your bridge. We've done this bridge prep numerous times in this class. Feet hips distance. As always, knees pointing right over. All right, so sometimes we let the knees fall open. It's just kind of a natural evolution of the body. But you want to keep them in close. You don't want a lot of space in between the inner thighs. You do want to be in close enough that the fingertips can find the backs of the heels. Ground the shoulder blades, press the palms into the mat, ground the feet, and lift the hips up into bridge. So if you want to get a block under your low back for some support, you can wiggle it under the sacrum, lower medium height. And we're going to hold here about 4 or 5 breaths. So if you're not using a block, or even if you are and you get tired, you can, just hold a breath or 2 and then come out. But here, really powerful pose for the quads. All right, so primarily we think a bridge is a back bend, which it is, and a chest opener, which it is, but it also works the quads and also by association, the knees. So good, strong quads here. Nice strengthening, but a little bit of a stretch here, so they're not working too hard. A lot of the body parts are working together here. Also the glutes and the outer hips and the shoulders. So the quads aren't taking the whole brunt of this pose as they did in so many of the others we did in this class. Take 1 more breath. All right, lift the hips up, place your block aside, slowly lower all the way down to the mat. All right, from here, Let's repeat the very first pose we did in this class. Hug the right knee to the chest and slide the left leg to straight. So coming back to that stretch, and maybe now, an hour, whatever in, the quads feel a little looser, a little longer, less tight, stronger than they did the very first time we did this little stretch. Simple stretch, accessible pose again, everyone can do. And then switch again, hug the left knee in, slide the right leg to straight, give it a hug in, maybe feel any difference from now and when we did this initially. And then again, hug both knees in. Maybe lift the head and shoulders, squeeze it a little closer. Squeeze the glutes too, so nice stretch for the glutes. And then lower head and shoulders down and drop the feet back to the mat. All right, you're gonna hug the right knee into the chest. And you're gonna cross that right ankle outside the left knee. So we're back to figure four. Back to figure four, but no crunches this time. Just holding here 2 or 3 breaths in the hip opener, and then we're gonna convert this into a twist. Take the right hand to the right knee or thigh and just gently a little press the knee away to open up that hip a little more, and maybe also a little bonus, feel a little stretch in that quad. All right, now ground the shoulder blades. So arms can be straight, elbows can be bent, somewhere in between. You're gonna keep this figure four shape. And you're gonna start to roll over to your left into a twist. Maybe that whole right foot grounds, maybe you're just on the ball of the foot, heel lifts. And then you're gonna turn left side of the chest over to the right to an easy twist. If this figure four shape is too intense to hold in the twist, uncross the right ankle and just hug both knees into the chest and take your twist that way. But if you can, we're here for just one more breath. And then slowly roll onto the back, uncross the right ankle, bring the foot to the mat, hug the left knee into the chest, flex the left foot and cross the left ankle outside the right knee, coming back to that figure four position for a few breaths. And maybe very subtly open the left knee out a little more, but not a big movement. Be gentle. One more breath. All right, keep the figure four shape with the legs, ground the shoulder blades, and then we're going to twist over to your right. Maybe that whole left foot comes to the mat. Maybe you're just on the ball of the foot or on the big toe. Turn right side of the ribs to the left into this twist. Once again, this feels tight, uncomfortable, weird, inaccessible for the hips, the lower body. Come out of the figure four shape and take a different twist. Just 2 more breaths here. One more. All right, roll onto the back, uncross the legs, maybe just one more hug in, maybe hug the right knee in, left leg long, and then switch, and then again, take both knees in to the chest, forehead to knee. Could also take a happy baby pose here, or a full body stretch, or another pose you would like to release with. And then when you're ready, come into a seat, and that's going to finish our class. So again, really important class. Quads play a huge role when we exercise, when we walk, when we have to. So think about if you have to bend down and pick something up, something fell to the ground, or you have to lift something. And, being able to come into that squat to use the quads to help you with those types of tasks can be really beneficial. Again, if you have knee pain, knee problems, having strong quads can help. That can take some of the strain, pressure off the knees by having the quads do a little more of the work. So again, reach out with any questions. Hope you enjoyed. Hope it's helpful, and see you in another class really soon. Thank you so much.